Welcome to another awesome edition of Rebellion's educational series. We've got Pascal Bornet with us, brilliant AI man who just came out with a book, Intelligent Automation. Pascal, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much, Alex. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I've been following you for years and I've always enjoyed learning from you. So tell us about this book.
Intelligent automation, just released now 1 month ago, uh, written by three people. One is Jan Barkin, a successful entrepreneur who created the first intelligent automation pure play consulting company 5 years ago and sold it 1 year ago for 60 plus million dollars. So a successful guy with a lot of innovation and entrepreneurship. Joren Wirtz, second co-author, is Vice Dean for the National University of Singapore, professor of marketing, specialist, expert in the customer experience, customer service.
Did you meet them during your time at McKinsey, or did you meet them as a student, or how did you come across these two individuals?
Wow, very different. I mean, I met Jan because we've been part of the intelligent automation community from the beginning. But both of us have started in this field and participated in starting the field. Okay. So we've known each other for more than 5 years. And Joren Wirtz, it's a different story. He used to be my teacher, one of my professors during my MBA, executive MBA that I did more than 10 years ago. And we've kept the connection, and he's been inviting me for the last 3 years to give lectures to his students around on the same topic of intelligent automation. Wonderful. So that's who wrote the book. So three people, the three of us.
Is this book for grad students, for practitioners? What's the ideal audience?
Everyone. So we've made a point to make it very accessible, very simple to read. We've kept in mind the idea that the book should be understandable by our mothers or grandparents. Okay, just to tell you the level of simplicity we've tried to keep. The language is very simple, as I said, but the insight is definitely covers the basic, but up to the cutting edge of those concepts currently.
Do you discuss COVID's effect on intelligent automation?
Sorry. So to answer your question, it's for everyone, from anyone who's interested in the future of work, interested in the future of technologies and future of our world, up to the global experts in intelligent automation who wants to know and make sure they are up to date, and also who wants very often to use the book as a tool, as an opportunity to inform, educate their clients and their teams.
So this is for manufacturing teams at Honeywell and firms such as those.
Yes. So I think you have in mind industrial automation when you say that.
Yes.
and thank you for giving me the opportunity to explain what is intelligent automation.
Yeah.
So while 200 years ago started the industrial revolutions, automating the blue collar work, okay, in the agricultural and manufacturing industries, and by the way, which provided massive and structural benefits to our society, such as reduction of famine, increase in in standards of living, and most importantly, they relieved us from laborious manual work.
Yes.
Intelligent automation is a new concept, officially coined by IEEE in 2017, and it ushers in a new revolution, the one of office work. So basically, we are talking here about automating white collar work. Office work, according to our research, accounts for more than 80% of the job roles in the global economy currently. And we include everyone from lawyers, financial controllers, call center operators, you and I, and most of the people who are listening to us. And we strongly believe that, like the previous automation revolutions, IA, intelligent automation, IA, will have significant impact on our world.
I agree. Consistently, automation allows for users to have better labor experiences, safer labor experiences, higher pay. If COVID has taken many Uber drivers and forced them to go back for programming and other such skills, those new jobs will be, more pleasurable than driving a car. And that's the one thing we've seen for 200 years, that consistently, as our economy has advanced, we provided for the lowest levels of labor having a much better situation than their predecessors.
Exactly. So the benefits of intelligent automation for the workers, the employees, as you said, is the capacity to take from them the repetitive transactional activities, giving them the opportunity to refocus on more value added, but also more exciting activities, like the connection with other people, so the relationships, creativity, insight. But on top of that, intelligent automation also gives us the opportunity to make us become superhumans, in the sense that it gives us the opportunity, the capacity to, for example, analyze millions of data in just a few seconds and create insights from that. For example, being able to read an X-ray and in just a fraction of a second, be able to say there is a tumor or there is no tumor. Okay.
We know healthcare has embraced intelligent automation, but is there one industry that, from your vantage point, you would say has not embraced automation as much as others? Is there kind of one that's behind? Or do you think at this point all industries are racing?
I think all the industries have started, some more than others. I don't think some less than others, but definitely some more. I think the COVID-19 crisis that we are living in currently is pushing companies is really giving a sense of urgency to companies to digitalize and automate their processes. So we see really a surge in the number of companies, number of projects involving intelligent automation currently.
Has there been one thing about COVID on the economy that's really surprised you in regards to how quickly our economy has automated, rather?
I think intelligent automation was a factor of competitiveness before the crisis. Indeed, companies which had not implemented intelligent automation were just lagging behind their competitors. Okay, and so they were just losing market share, I would say. With COVID, it became from a competitiveness dimension to a survival dimension. And these which have not implemented any form of intelligent automation currently are just trying to survive. And most of them are just surviving because thanks to the subsidies of the government.
Are there
the companies that have already implemented intelligent automation before the crisis, or that have taken the opportunity of doing it during the crisis, are currently not only living, but I think thriving as well, because they've been able to connect with clients online, digitally, being able to generate revenue and cash digitally, and be able to manage their operations automatically with a minimum human intervention.
I mean, at this point, are there major corporations that don't have an AI department, if you will, whether it's Shell or Blackstone or 7-Eleven? I feel like almost every corporation at this point has
Yes,
created an AI department to try to use their own data, for their own,
correct.
more efficiency.
Correct. I think today most of the largest listed companies have a data science, artificial intelligence department. Most of them also have an automation center of excellence or department. Most of them also have um, customer service, chatbot type of technology team
Yeah.
managing the connection with the client through digital. But
Are you familiar
very
with Zendesk?
few, but very few of them are able to connect those different departments together, those different skills together, to be able to generate the maximum of synergies. And those synergies, we call them intelligent automation, basically. Uh, and in reality, this is about intelligent automation is about so using those different technologies in combination with methods involving people, processes, organizations that enable to automate end-to-end processes. And when you take an end-to-end processes like a procure to pay process, for example, you have to automate so different activities in such a process. From the selection of vendor to sending orders to the vendors, to receiving and processing the invoices from the vendors, to finally paying those vendors. So those different tasks, different work tasks require different capabilities. Some of them will require some thinking and learning. Some others will require some vision to see and to read and to understand. Some others will require to speak and talk and discuss with a client, explain to a client. Some others will just require the capacity to click or enter data. So it's really by combining those different capabilities that are using the different technologies that we discussed before, that we are able to automate end-to-end processes. And this is really what we call intelligent automation.
So just coming back to chatbots, do you have a feeling in Zendesk, they seem to almost created a monopoly for chatbots right now? Do you see them continually running ahead, or do you find that there are other competitors that will push them around?
Can you say again? I couldn't get the
Zendesk.
name.
Oh, Zendesk.
Zendesk is doing very well. It's doing very well. I think they are taking more and more market share. I think they've been able to innovate and to innovate at the right time on the market. But the market is that this market of the chatbot market is extremely competitive. It's very difficult to differentiate a technology in such a market. So innovation is key, and you have to offer more than just conversation. You have to offer intelligence in the sense that to offer a chatbot that is able to not only understand a question, answer a question, but also provide more value to the client.
Now, jumping back to corporate operations.
Yeah.
Do you see a future where there are AI systems overseeing corporate operations, from accounts payable to vendor relations, and that are essentially monitoring whether it's Chevron or whose ever internal financials, to look for improprieties and to look for issues? You think that's the future for all major corporations?
I think so. And I'm passionate by this idea of having all those processes working by themselves, completely autonomously managed by technology, so that we can really focus on what matters, which is again insights, comments, relationship, creativity. Yeah, definitely all this should be done. And I hope in the future will completely be done by technology.
Now, at the end of the day, so many of the smartest tech investors say they value a company based on their sales pipeline. And the sales pipeline really has to be done through human beings. And so the more we can get humans to focus on growing a business and not looking for outlying data, the more efficient our economy will be overall. Anyway, Pascal, this has been a fantastic conversation. You're a brilliant mind. And I've really, really enjoyed following you on LinkedIn. And I highly recommend to all of our viewers that they follow Pascal as well on LinkedIn. I think you'll find his posts to be very informative and a lot of fun. So, merci beaucoup for coming on.
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, so we both
Thank you, Alex. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, right.
Bye. Bye.